We have the Ayatollah of fantasy rock and roller with us today, Adam Rank. How you doing, Rank?
They look great in person, and I just can't wait till next year we can pack it full of 25,000.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. I didn't know it was Ball Guys Day. It was being ranked. I mean, how can you lose?
This is the Dynasty Vipers ViperCast.
Welcome back to another edition of the Dynasty Vipers ViperCast, episode number 109. We are heading to the playoffs this week, but first, let's recognize in Steelers Nation what today truly is. Some people call it Taco Tuesday, but in Pittsburgh, this may be known as Timeout Tuesday from this day forward. I mean, Major, as a former junior college running back, what are your thoughts on that timeout?
The emoji when it's like this, that's my thoughts on that. I have no idea, man. I'm gonna pass that to Tera. Go ahead.
Tera?
I don't think it was that deep. I don't think it did that much. Yeah, I mean, because from what I've heard, they were still going to actually they weren't gonna kneel. That wasn't the plan. So I don't think it was that big of an issue. They're giving him a hard time. Staley, that is.
You know what? I've got a theory here. My belief here is Staley decided, you know what? I'm probably going to catch a lot of grief for calling a timeout here, but I'm probably going to catch more grief for going for it on fourth down from my own 18-yard line in the first quarter. So if I call a timeout now, everyone's going to forget about that fourth down gamble way back in the first quarter. That's my theory right now, but
actually, I like that logic a lot. That makes more sense than everything else I've heard so far. So good job, Matt.
I know. So every once in a while, a blind squirrel finds a nut. I think I found a little bit of tidbit of information there that we can use moving forward. Now, speaking of moving forward, there were a lot of NFL teams that moved forward, moved on from GMs, from coaches. Black Monday, Black Friday, whatever you want to call it. There were no deals to be had, but lots of coaches, unfortunately, were let go. I mean, we're talking some that we kind of expected, some that should have gone, and then one, in my opinion, who probably should be still in Miami. That's Brian Flores there. We'll get to him in a second, but let's go through this list real quick. Matt Nagy, time for him to go? Yes or no?
Yes. Has to.
It's been time. Yeah.
Mike Zimmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we know about John Gruden. We know about Urban Meyer let go earlier in the season. Vic Fangio, he was let go. He basically threw his quarterbacks under the bus on the way out.
I mean,
and then we had Joe Judge today, which like 2 weeks ago, he had like the full confidence. And then it looked like he was going to avoid the chop block. Not so fast. And I didn't think he was going to survive when Gettleman decided he was going to retire. You can't retain a coach that's borderline and then bring in a new GM and not let him have a choice of who he's going to go with there. So, Tera, as the NFC North expert here and Packers resident, 2 coaches down. How are you feeling about this?
Not good. I would have loved them to stay, quite honestly.
Evil.
No, I mean, organizationally, it was the best thing for them to do. Matt Nagy was clearly not the answer. He should have been gone, but it seemed like Chicago was maybe okay with extended rebuild, knowing that he was going to fail and still get another high draft pick and be fine with that. And then Mike Zimmer, he's not an awful coach, but I mean, I think he just reached his ceiling. So do you want to forever be at best like maybe 9-9? You're like, it's a good year. You get 10 wins and that's the max. You're getting a first round boot. Like I don't know. You just got to strive for more, especially when you've got the young talent that they have. And Justin Jefferson, and then Dalvin Cook still got years left. So they had to make a move.
I mean, for me, with Matt Nagy being gone, it makes things really interesting there when it comes to Allen Robinson and what we're looking forward to him moving forward. Probably more on him when we start talking about our dynasty rankings for our wide receivers here in a couple weeks, because I think Matt Nagy and Pace being gone kind of changes where we thought Allen Robinson was not going to be come 2022. I think there may be a chance that he could return to the Bears in 2022 with how things change, but more on that a little bit later. Major, I want to kind of touch base here with Brian Flores because of all these coaches that got released. I think a lot of them are going to land on their feet as coordinators, but I really think Flores still has an opportunity to be a head coach as early as 2022. I mean,
Sure.
Major, what are your thoughts about this?
I mean, this one makes me mad, and I don't want to get on my soapbox because I know we had a little pre-meeting was like, let's speed up the show a little bit, but I just want to take a second just to talk about this because it's something that's been like formulating in the back of my head for a while now. It seems like even in basketball and in the NBA and in the NFL, it seems like black coaches get the worst jobs, and then as soon as they're about to start winning, they get fired for some reason, and then the new guy comes in and wins the championship, a la what's his name, Dungy and your boy Chucky. That was that situation is happening now. Miami looks like a team with a ton of young talent, good defense, good offense, ready to go. They've performed at the end of the season the past 2 years, and now you let them go when it seems like they're putting everything all together. And a coach who's going to come in is going to get all the credit as this guru and all this other stuff. To me, it's just a little, I don't know. I'm starting to catch on to the game a little bit, and I don't like the way it looks. But Brian Flores should be in. I want him in Denver. I think that would be an awesome. Maybe him and Watson in Denver. That would be like a dream thing going on there. Or maybe even in Chicago or something like that. So I think he is really up to him at this point if he wants to come back, if he wants to take a year off. But I don't know. I think he should be a head coach in the league somewhere, like next season for sure.
And Tera, which of these coaches do you kind of empathize with the most here as well? Are you with Brian Flores here, thinking he's going to land his feet as a head coach in 2022, at least compared to these other coaches that were let go?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it definitely wasn't his performance as a head coach. He was fine. They were still rebuilding. A large chunk of the season was with Jacoby Brissett, and the fact that they were almost like literally this close, one good two a game away from making the playoffs. I think it says a lot about him. He's a good coach, and maybe this is a good time for him to come out because it's a cycle where there's a ton of teams that are going to be open. So he's going to be a top candidate, and he's going to have his pick of the litter. It wasn't a coaching issue. Sounds like there was some kind of conflict between a couple of people there, and he lost out, unfortunately. So he'll land.
Yeah, there's some stuff, and media talk, and certain media, certain teams, certain players, whatever you want to look at, they put something out there in every situation. And I know we've heard some stuff that it was kind of Flores that wanted Watson, not Tua. Maybe that had something to do with it, vice versa. Who will let that go? Was that the team that kind of released that? Who knows? And you know what? Even as a Raiders fan, there's no guarantee that Versace sticks around with the Raiders, and that becomes a vacancy that could be opened up too for someone. But
the way he's performed with that team, he should be. I know intern coaches always kind of get shooed off at the end of the season, but he took that team to the playoffs. With all the stuff that's going on in that organization, he got them focused and got them to the playoffs. He should be the head coach.
I mean, I sat at work there. I got a buddy who's a Ravens fan, and anything that could go wrong went wrong with the Ravens. I get it. And we were kind of talking about our teams. I'm like, but you know what? Things didn't go good for the Raiders, and it was Versace that kind of kept everything in check all season long. And when we talk about the Miami Dolphins here, it was Brian Flores' team. This team last year took on the identity of their head coach.
Yes, sir.
This year, they got down and everything down. They lost. They were 1-7 or whatever it was. They went on that winning streak. Yeah, they beat some teams that weren't good. But in the NFL, we've watched what's gone on. The Indianapolis Colts were playoff bound. All they had to do was win one game, either against the Raiders or against the Jaguars, and they're in the playoffs. Did not happen. We watched the Chargers lose to the Texans. So nothing is guaranteed in the National Football League. And
Man,
Flores,
you're
say
fired.
what you want about the Miami Dolphins. They won 7 or 8 games to put themselves into a position where they could have qualified for the playoffs.
But man,
So
here's a
for me-
question: When are the players going to like put their foot down? Like if I'm a leader on a Miami's team and I rock with Coach Flores, I'm going to be like, yo, we're not playing until you bring my guy back or figure out. So you know what I mean? Like when they're gonna start putting their foot down. Like if for some reason they seem like they don't have like leverage, but they actually do. So I don't understand that part.
Well, and here's my thing. I said, I have my belief on this whole situation. I think we're lock and step here on what we believe on Flores as a coach. But you know what? We don't have all the information at our
True.
fingertips.
True.
And you know, you've been in a locker room, things are different, and you hear different things when you're in the locker room and when you're out of the locker room. The noise that's in there and the noise that's out there. Two totally different things. So we can have our thoughts out here and really feel strongly about them, but we don't know everything that went in behind the doors. At the end of the day, the NFL, one way or the other, no matter how you want to call it, it is a business.
That's a great point.
I mean, I really hope that Flores lands a head coaching job because that's what he deserves. And the fact that they're interviewing guys like Dan Quinn, who's basically the same person as Flores, is a totally different. You know what? You want to fire Flores, and you bring in a guy like Brian Leftwich, an offense kind of guy, a guy who's got a great mind, who is ready to take that to the next step, and you almost have a guarantee that he would be your coach. I can see you letting Flores go because at the end of the day, you've got to get the best coach for your team. And if
For
you
your quarterback,
exactly. So we'll see how this shakes out when it's all said and done and who goes where and which coaches land where and coordinators and whatnot before I make a final judgment on everything. But you know what, Flores, we're with you here. We hope the best for you going forward.
Yes,
Not
sir.
that you watch this show or anything, but if you did, we're with you.
You never know.
Flores was a stud, in my opinion, for coaches, but we also had studs and duds going back to week 17. So we can get into the wild card preview. Studs and duds, Tara. Who were those studs? Who were those duds? Back into week 18. And hopefully, you were not playing for a championship in week 18.
I'm booing everyone who's playing in week 18.
Yes. So my stud of the week, I have to give to Trevor Lawrence. Was it the highest total of the week? I could have gone somewhere else. I could have gone with Dak, who had an absolutely insane game. Now, granted, against second stringers from Philadelphia, but you got to give him his props on that. But I wanted to go with Trevor, not homerism, but I think it's a bright sign for the future. It was good to finally see him turn things around. It'd been a while since he'd gotten a touchdown, was able to get multiples, no interceptions, a decent amount of yardage. So, I think they needed that. That was a really good way to wrap up the season that's been literally turmoil for that entire team. So, if you think about it, they get a good coach in place, get their other players that were out with Chark and ETN back healthy. I feel very positively after that performance heading into next year for Trevor. It was good to see.
And then with every rose, there is a thorn. Who was that thorn? Who was that dud for you, Tara?
The dud for me was Carson Wentz. It's not even about the stats. It's about the fact that you literally which the stats were not good from a fantasy perspective. But it's about the fact that you literally gave away the playoffs, unfortunately, and you left your team in a position where they gave up a first-round pick for you. Philadelphia is now in the playoffs. And we'll have the first round pick of Indianapolis. And Indianapolis is just left with Carson Wentz, who literally blew it in the worst way against the Jags. Yeah, I kind of went there with the opposite end there with Trevor and Carson Wentz. I had high-ish hopes for Carson Wentz to have a nice little bounce back season. And he did from a fantasy perspective. Did a lot better than expected. But throughout the entire season, he just had these weird moments where he just kind of, had these random things that from a fantasy perspective aren't a big deal. But from a real game perspective, he was just literally giving games away with weird mistakes over and over and over again and just tanking it for a team that's hyper talented with Jonathan Taylor. So you got to wonder where they're heading. It's definitely my dud of the week, or maybe he's your stud of the week. Matt, is he your stud of the week for what he created?
Hey, we were going in one way or the other, but we'll more on that shortly. I feel confident about it. Very confident.
Confidence. Okay.
The tie don't lie. Let's just put it that way. The tie don't lie.
It's coming off the circulation to your brain, man. You got to loosen that up.
It might be. I mean, I think my neck's got a little bit bigger. And I don't mean like muscle mass or anything. I think I just got fat. So it's starting to doing that top button up is not very flattering for me right now. So if my head starts turning different colors, just hit me up in the private chat there. But Major, duds for you here going back to last week.
Yeah, I'm going with Debo. He's becoming one of my favorite players in all the league. And I was like live tweeting during the game, like he's one of the best running backs in the game. Just the way he reads the holes, his patience, his contact balance, like he has everything to be the best running back in the game. But I was hearing all this talk from all these different pundits and everything talking about Jimmy G won the game for the 49ers, but it was Debo. Debo filled the stat line doing pretty much everything. He had 4 receptions for 95 yards, 8 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown. He even threw a pass for 24 yards. So I'm giving it to Debo. The guy is just a MVP, one of those Swiss Army knives, one of those Konami Code dudes who are just like, we don't have that many in league, but when we do get them, it's like a beautiful thing. So I'm gonna give it to Debo for that one. And my dud of the week goes to Matthew Stafford. Like, what's going on, bro? Like, for real, Matt, what's going on with your brother in namesake, I guess? The Mats are not having a good like end of the season.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matthew Stafford is living up to his name in a biblical sense, as in the book of Revelations, because things are not going good for Matthew Stafford right now. Okay. Yeah. It has been biblical, but not in the prophetic type way. Let's put it that way right now.
Yeah. So so the reason I really gave it to him, because the last play, like he underthrew OBJ. OBJ actually beat his guy. And he underthrew the ball. The rookie made a great play on it. But the last 4 weeks, Stafford has thrown 8 interceptions. 8 interceptions in 4 weeks is like unacceptable for a quarterback that, again, like Tera was talking about with the trade for Wentz, it was a pretty big trade for Matthew Stafford. And I don't know. To me, it seems like he's kind of regressing back to the Detroit days. I don't think he knows how to play this late into the season. Maybe this is some new territory for him. So I'm trying to give him a little slack, but like, you have a championship caliber team, you need to perform. So Stafford, come on, bro, get it together.
I mean, really, we should stop picking on Matthew Stafford. Maybe he could turn over a new leaf here in the playoffs. Now, for me,
can I just say, I 100% agree with Major. Wow. I am 100% with you there on Stafford.
I was waiting for the butt, though. That's why I took a second, like, wait for it.
Exact same reasonings. People look at him and they're like, look at these statistics. I was posting redraft quarterbacks, and a lot of people were wondering, well, why is Stafford not there? And I'm like, okay, you're looking at the overall numbers. You're not looking at what happened in the back half of the season where he was woefully bad and not someone that I want as one of my top 5 picks in a redraft. So yeah, I'm 100% there with you.
Oh, first time ever.
yeah,
How does it feel? How does it feel to be right, Tera? How does that feel? It feels good, right? Your shoulders is loose. You got the monkey off your back. Don't you feel good?
You know what? The butt's coming here pretty soon. The butt's about to come out.
Man, this sounds like a Twitter poll opportunity. Who is right more?
Oh, for sure I'm going to win that.
Well, I'll let you guys go to the polls for that to see who's the second best. Now, for my studs and duds here, I mean,
I like it.
You see what we're doing. You're watching you see the show sheet here. You're listening to the show right now. You see that Tera just focused on the one game, Jacksonville, Indianapolis. Major just focused on San Francisco and that other team that somehow backed into the playoffs and back into division champion, the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to stay with the Los Angeles Chargers, and I'm going to stick with the Las Vegas Raiders, and I want to give the stud status to Derek Carr. Don't be hating my man right now. Yes, were the numbers there? Hey, the numbers were not there. Justin Herbert had much better numbers, but Justin Herbert was down big in the fourth quarter and had no other option but to throw and stack those stats there. Now, for Derek Carr, he came up big when he needed to. He got this team into field goal range in overtime twice. You know what? What he was able to do was manage the game for the Vegas Raiders and get them in the playoffs for the first time since 2016 and only the second time since they were in the Super Bowl back in 2002. You want pain? I have felt pain. Derek Carr, I've been preaching this all season long. QB 12 for fantasy. Yes, the fantasy quarterbacks were horrible this year, but don't take it away from him. He was still a top 10 passing quarterback as far as yardage is concerned. Everyone, he only checks it down. No, look at the numbers. Going into week number 18, he had the second most completions over 20 yards. So you know what? Derek Carr, you were a stud, helping getting those Vegas Raiders in the playoffs. And we talk about Versace and the job that he did, but Derek Carr was a leader in that locker room. He helped go through every turmoil that this Vegas team went through the season. And somehow when it was all said and done, they ended up 10-7. Oh, well, they got one extra game in the playoffs. Well, you take that one extra game away. That was the Chicago Bears, which was a loss. They legitimately would have finished 10-6 going back to last year's format. So, you know what? Stud status. And I'm going to focus on the other side of the ball. Staley, you are the dud of the week. It's not even about the timeout in overtime. It's not even about, it's about going forward on fourth down in the first quarter from your 18-yard line. I can't imagine any owner. I'm surprised. Like, you talk about him finishing the season with 9 wins and all this other stuff. I can't imagine an owner in this league being okay with Staley for another season. He went for it. I get it. You want to trust your players. I get it. But when you look at it, 50% of the time being right is not good analytically speaking. Now, fourth quarter, yes, they went for it on fourth down multiple times, but they had to. That different situation there. I mean, too many things question my belief on how Staley coached this team, and that team has all kinds of talent. There's no reason for the Chargers not to be in the playoffs this year. Zero. No reason for them not to be in there. So, Staley, you get my dud status. Now, Tara, do you got an IDP player you want to talk about from last week?
Mute.
Sorry about that. I do not have an IDP player of the week. My bad, guys. I missed that one.
I'll go while you figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the guy who picked off Matthew Stafford to send the 49ers to the championship, the rookie out of Michigan, Ambry Thomas. He made that game-winning interception. Like, he got burnt, but he turned lemons into lemonade, and he, picked a really bad, like the worst underthrown ball I've ever seen in my life. And he had the fortitude to make a play and send his team to the playoffs. So that's a big shout out for a big play for a rookie in a big crucial moment. So shout out to Mr. Thomas for making that play for my Niners.
And I'm going to jump right in here right now, and I'm going to give IDP player of the week to TJ Watt for sack number 23.5, whatever it was, a tied Michael Strand. Yes, again, people, stop with the week 18 crap.
Yeah, right.
TJ Watt literally played 13 games this year. 13 games, missing all kinds of time with injuries, and finished with a part of that sack record. So you cannot put an asterisk beside this, no matter how you look at it. TJ Watt was that good this season. Tara.
What would have happened if he would have played a full season? Oh my God.
Well, you heard me last week. We were talking about bold predictions, and I said 25 sacks minimum for him. I think that could be even higher if we're being honest with ourselves here. Now, Tara, who's that IDP player for you last week?
Hi, you move super fast. For me, it is sorry, I'm trying to pull up stats. It's Nasir Adderley. Who did, despite the fact that the Chargers did lose the game, he did do well from a fantasy perspective. Double-digit tackles, Had a forced fumble as well. Just watching the game, you heard his name all the time. He was all over the place, wreaking havoc. So yeah, it was a good day for him. Unfortunately, not for the Chargers as a whole.
Well, I know watching that Chargers-Raiders game, I do not want to hear the name Nwasu for a good long time, because he was wrecking havoc everywhere for the Chargers coming off the edge. Now, full disclosure, hits and misses. Tara, back to this Raiders-Chargers game. What do you got for us?
Yes. So mine is focused on the Raiders-Chargers game because that was my big piece of content this week. I did a showdown breakdown for the Sunday night game, which was awesome and fun. And my hit of the week was Josh Jacobs, who I feel like people give an oddly hard time to for some reason and just don't really believe in him. And I do. I am a Josh Jacobs backer. He performs a lot better than you would expect, and I love the way that he ended off the season. 26 carries. It was very close to a season high for him. 132 yards. Fantastic on the ground. A touchdown. Not a ton of work through the air, but that's kind of understandable given the situation. They weren't really playing from behind. So yeah, man, good for Josh Jacobs. Way to finish off strong and kind of over the past several games, really just pulling through.
Yeah, he ran the ball really well.
He is going to trick us into RB12 status going into 2022 again. Another one of those guys that we love to hate when it comes to fantasy. Now, who's that dud?
Yeah, I mean, he pulls through is the crazy part about it. Everyone always thinks Josh Jacobs like low end RB2. No, man, he pulls through. You'd be surprised. He is right on that edge all the time. Then my miss on the other end, Derek Carr. And it wasn't that I thought Derek Carr was just going to have a miserable game. I just didn't see a lot of upside from him from a DFS perspective, unfortunately. So he was not someone that I was advocating for out of all the players in that game. But yeah, statistically with the 2 touchdowns, it ended up being pretty decent, especially for the salary in DFS. So yeah, I would consider that one of my misses for the week.
And then Major, I can't wait to hear what you got here. What do you got for your hits and misses?
Yeah, so on the Extra Point Show every Sunday, presented by Fantasy Points, myself and Nick, we talk about player props and all that, and I got a couple right that I felt really good about. So I predicted that Cook would have less than 105.5 total yards. He ended up only having 82 yards, and it was mostly because the Vikings are out of the playoffs, and I know players, like, when there's nothing to play for, like, we kind of like go on vacation a little bit early. So I didn't think he was going to have a big game. And I also predicted that Eckler would have more than 90.5 total yards. He ended up with 99. So I got that one right as well. And again, it was the opposite reason. They're playing for a playoff spot. It didn't really work out, but he gave it all he had. So shout out to those 2 players for making me some money this week. And for my misses, this is for Tara. This is going to be an early birthday present, early Christmas, like all the holidays is mixed into one for you. So don't ask me for anything later on. Okay.
I'll ask.
But on the same show, on the Extra Point Show on Sundays, I predicted that Ramondre would have a touchdown with Cooper Kupp and who was it? Debo. It was like a little 3 thing that you play on Monkey Knife Fight. It's called Touchdown Dance. And you predict who's going to have the most touchdowns all together. And I needed Ramondre to come through for me to win that bet because my other 2 players scored. I just needed him to score, and he did not. So I have to like say that my guy Ramondre let me down for the first time ever in life. So I know she's gonna love it, but I gotta call a spade a spade.
Well, Major, I've learned in life that if you keep that bar low enough, every once in a while you trip over it and exceed expectations. So never set that bar high, especially when it comes to Ramondre Stevenson. Now, for me, hey, guys got to get paid, and you never mess with another person's money, right? Gronk, incentives. You knew right off the get-go he was going to nail that $1 million incentive, and Tom Brady made sure to stay in the game long enough to make sure that happened.
Just to get it for him.
Big time hit. I was all about the incentives there all week long. Russell Gage. I was on Football Diehards there with Bob Harrison. He's like, who's that wide receiver that you think is no one's really getting on, but you think is going to be big for next year? I said, it's Russell Gage. I mean, let's give this guy some respect. He's going to close out the season with a bang. And all he did was basically go off against the Saints there. And we know the Saints are a pretty good defense too. Yep. So, 9 catches on 13 targets, 126 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, I think you exceeded expectations there. Now, for me, a miss, it was Mike Williams. I'm a firm believer in this Raiders defense, especially the secondary and what they can do and how they can shut people down. Last time they played, I think, don't quote me on this here, don't fact check this, but I think it was Keenan Allen was held to 36 yards. Mike Williams was held to 1 catch and 11 yards. Now, I didn't expect Mike Williams to be held to 1 catch and 11 yards, but I didn't expect him to go off for 9 catches for 119 yards on 17 targets. Now, mind you, the Chargers were down 2 scores in the fourth quarter, and Mike Williams was a big part of that comeback. But you know what? That was a miss. I didn't think Mike Williams would be as successful against the Raiders as what he was. And I was looking good until that fourth quarter came up. So, but it was a miss no matter how you want to look at it, which leads us right to the Super Wildcard Weekend. But before we do, I want to give a special shout out to the Fantasy Points Media Group who powers us each and every week. And it's not just the Dynasty Vipers ViperCast. It's the True North Fantasy Football Show. It's the Dynasty Happy Hour. It's the P2W Fantasy Show, the Smoke Show. I mean, the injury-prone podcast there with Dr. Edwin Peros there, the Triple Play Fantasy team, they're with us, Campus to Canton, and, of course, the Fantasy Points podcast, all part of that Fantasy Points Media Group team, that family that we kind of get together. There's no kumbaya-ing or anything, but you know what? We get along just fine.
That's true.
Now,
yeah, it's a nice family there, man.
I'm really surprised that the word kumbaya hasn't been used more in Twitter, in social media lately after the whole little did you not miss the whole Antonio Brown podcast that he just did? It was all about, go look it up. Look, Antoine Winfield's taking shots at him with kumbaya hashtag. And you got to get into that trending there, Major. Like, come on. What are you, like 40? You got to be more hip, like me, as the kids would say. I am lit to the knowledge of Twitter. Yeah, we'll go with that. Now, let's talk. Tara, I'm going to turn it over to you here. Kind of talk real quick. What are your thoughts, your expectations, breakdown, and your prediction for the Bengals and the Raiders this week?
So it's very interesting because I'm not down on the Raiders by any means. They're coming in on a hot streak. They've won 4 games in a row. They've been very successful. I mean, they're coming off arguably the biggest win of the season there to close things out. So I don't think they're a pushover by any means. And they've had some good victories. It's been an up and down season, but putting week 18 aside for the Bengals, since they didn't really play anybody. Week 16 and 17 for the Bengals with the combination of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Week 17, over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jamar Chase, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. Kind of insane. They are on a ridiculous hot streak. Hopefully sitting the starters did not cool them down. But I think it's going to continue, unfortunately. So my prediction here is that the Bengals are going to pull it out.
All right. I reserve. I'll let it go for now. Major, let's hear what you got to say about this contest.
Sorry, Matt. I have to agree with Tera on this one, man. Like, one thing I do know about playing, I didn't play on that level, but it's the same in any level you ever play. When you bust your butt and get into the playoffs or you really work hard, they gave their all. So I think they may have like, for lack of better word, shot their load. But the Bengals have momentum. The Bengals have momentum. They have young players. They don't even, sometimes players got to like calm down to like figure out where they are. These guys are young. They don't even know where they're at. They're just playing football. They don't worry about the first round and all this extra stuff. They just know they're in the playoffs and they're going to play hard and fast and whatever else they do. The Bengals are added to my list of favorite teams now. I have like the Niners, the Rams, the Chargers, And now the Bengals, baby. I'm a Bengals. I don't even know what we call our fans, but we're Bengalettes, Bengalers, Bengalese, Bengals, whatever it is, I'm with it. Sign me up. So I'm taking the Bengals in this game over the Raiders.
All right. Much respect. Hey, you know what? It's hard for me to argue with what we've seen earlier between these two teams. Back in week 11, where the Bengals won 32-13. But let's not kid ourselves here. The Raiders have been playing playoff football for a couple weeks. They're battle tested. They're probably one of the teams that are closer together with each other right now than any other team because of what's happened in that locker room. They truly are playing for one another, maybe more so than any other team right now. How far does that get you? I don't know. Now, I do know one thing. I look at all those great Indianapolis Colts teams with Peyton Manning. They won 0 Super Bowls when they rested their starters the last week of the season. The one Super Bowl that they won, they had to play their way all the way in. They had to play the first round of the playoffs, and they had to keep on going. I do believe there is a rest versus rust thing that's going to come into play. And, I mean, yeah, you're trying to protect your asset, but I also don't – there's a reason why Aaron Rodgers played the game. It wasn't just to get Devontae Adams his catches, that record there over Jordy Nelson. It wasn't just to kind of maybe get a higher quarterback rating, completion percentage. It wasn't just that. He wanted to get some reps because it was going to be another week for him. Now, I do think that this could help him in a way, but when we look back at the game, it wasn't like the Raiders were terrible either. Especially you want to talk about like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Listen, Jamar Chase, 3 catches, 32 yards. Yes, he had that touchdown. T. Higgins, 2 for 15. Tyler Boyd was the biggest threat offensively in the passing game, 6 catches, 49 yards. They held the 3 biggest wide receivers the Bengals had to 50 yards or less, each one of them. It was Joe Mixon that absolutely ate up the Raiders there that game. 30 rushes, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. But look, this is not the same Raiders defense that we've watched at the beginning of the season. This isn't the 2021 Raiders defense. This is a legit defense right now. Now, the big thing right now is I don't know the injury status is on Fillion. He was absolutely a beast in the middle against the Chargers. His injury status, and it's not looking good. When you get carted off, when a big dude gets carted off with a knee injury, it's not usually a good thing. I don't know what that status is, but he's a big part of, and they're going to have to stop the run in order to beat the Bengals. It's that simple. I'm taking the Raiders, and I'm taking them in a 24-21 game. I think it's going to be a close one because here's what's going to happen. The Raiders are going to walk it off in a field goal in overtime. They've literally had 6 walk-off victories this season. I think they were in overtime 3 or 4 times this season. This is a team that's been tested, and I think they are going to go. But you know what? Luck only runs so long in Vegas, and you can only bet on black so many times before red pops up. So let's head to the Patriots and Bills. Tara, what do you got?
I'm actually kind of obsessed with this game because I love how we get these multiple matchups where we've got these teams facing off that have already played 2 times and split the series. So we get to see who is the third and final victor in the series between the Bills and the Patriots. So the Patriots took round 1, winning 14-10. And that was that game where it was literally the most awful weather ever. Mac Jones literally barely even threw the ball. I think the one target was like, one completion was like to Jonnu Smith. And outside of that, they were able to rely on their run game. My boy, Damian Harris, Mayor's boy, Ramondre Stevenson. And it was very interesting to see how that outcome came out. And then we turn around and we got the second matchup where there was no weather issue. The Bills were able to come out and dominate the game. Great game by Josh Allen and company. So, we kind of get to this situation where they're heading back to Buffalo. Hopefully the weather is not bad and it will be the same situation as last time where Buffalo is clearly the better team. The Patriots just aren't there yet. Mac Jones is not that guy who can take it to the next level right now. He's not the quarterback yet that is able to win you the game. He's able to manage the game. So unfortunately, I don't think that they will be able to overcome the Bills and Josh Allen. I got the Bills in this one.
Major, what say you?
Man, Tara made some good points. I kind of want to switch right now, but I'm going to stay with my pick. I'm going with the Pats. And it's just because I'm going coaching on this, and Belichick thrives in the underdog position. Like, he wants to be the underdog. He hated when they were like the favorites of any game. So he's in the locker room right now telling his players how much everyone's doubted him, how much everyone's voting against you, how everyone hates you, all this good stuff, only to get them riled up and get them going. And I think it's going to be a big game by both of those running backs that Tera just mentioned. My guy Ramondre is going to have a great game to win this game. It's going to be a close one. I'll, Matt threw out points earlier. I'll do like a 21, like, I don't know, 17 or something like that, maybe around there. I don't know.
Ooh, holding Josh Allen to 17 points.
I think sometimes Josh, when it's a big moment, sometimes he kind of cowers a little bit. He has a little Matt Stafford in him a little bit.
And for me, I'm going to go with the Bills here because as much as I want to take the Patriots here because I love the narrative of who's better, Belichick or Brady, and having the teams meet in the Super Bowl, I think would absolutely drive the media up the wall, and the NFL would absolutely love it. I predicted the Bills and the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, okay? And I'm going to stick with that. And in order to stick with that, I have to have the Bills to win this game. It is really that simple. Like Tara said, you split the season series. Here's the rubber match. I think talent wins out over coaching in this one. Now, we've also got the Eagles and the Bucs. We just talked about how much I believe the Bucs are Super Bowl contenders and how I think the media would love a Bucs and Patriots game. I am going to go and take the Bucs here. I don't see a way that the Eagles even keep this one close. Let's be honest here. Mike Evans, 8 straight years of 1,000 yards. Yes, he did. That is an asterisk. You can put it there. There's no way he would have got it without Week 18 this year. Let's be honest on that one. The Bucs are. We talk about some of these teams that have battled injuries all year. The Bucs have battled injuries, it seems, all season long on both sides of the ball. And now with AB going off and going on talk shows, talking his trash, talking smack, saying Brady was only his friend for this reason, and Brady's only good because I was there. You're pissing Brady off. Don't do that before the playoffs, man. The only thing, Brown, can you imagine if Brady doesn't make the Super Bowl? Antonio Brown would be like, if I was a Buccaneer, we would have made the Super Bowl. And then you would hear that narrative all off season. So I'm taking the Bucs here, Major.
I'm going Bucs as well, and it's kind of, I don't think any of that stuff with AB is going to affect this team. It's a veteran team, and Brady is just ice cold, so I don't think he's worried about any of that stuff. But it's mostly I went with the Bucs just because the Eagles they snuck into the playoffs, and I think they're going to get exposed. They should have just lost the game and stayed out. They should have just chilled because this is going to be an ugly, ugly loss for them. But hey, congrats for making it to the playoffs.
For me, again, I'm taking the Bucs. It's a clean sweep. The Eagles are fortunate that Pittsburgh made it in because if not, they would have unfortunately been the dead last worst playoff team out of both sides of the conference, unfortunately. Their most recent victories, and they've won, they've been winning, but unfortunately these wins are coming against Washington, the Giants, the Jets. They're not high quality wins. Their best quality win is over New Orleans. So there's nothing that shows they are a top tier team. Unfortunately, I don't believe they can compete with the Bucs.
Great point.
But luckily they rested their starters, so they should be good to go. Next matchup on the docket here, the 49ers versus the Dallas Cowboys. Tara, what do you got?
Now this is probably this one is probably closer than you would think because I do think that the Niners they're coming together. They're a pretty fairly-ish impressive team. I do like Garoppolo maybe more than some people do. I think he's a competent quarterback. They're going with him for a reason right now because he is the stable option to carry them through the playoffs. But unfortunately, I have more confidence in the Cowboys. They're just a very complete team. I think when people look at the Cowboys and they look at Dak and they say Dak had a down year, it wasn't really necessary though. He didn't have to go out there and throw for aggressive yardage when you've got a defense that is arguably the top defense in the NFL, right up there competing with the big boys now. They've made a massive turnaround. They've made the right investments. And when I look at this Cowboys team, they're a complete team. So I really like them to win this game and possibly another moving forward.
What's up, Hot Sauce Pod? How you doing? I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys here too for a lot of things that Tara had mentioned there. This is a legit offense, and congratulations, Ambry Thomas, for that interception, because this Cowboys offense is a little bit different. Dak's a little bit different than Matt Stafford. You got the weapons all across the board, and they can play good defense. I think at the end of the day, a team that plays good defense, that can run the ball, has the best shot at beating the Green Bay Packers. I mean, you're going to have to do that to get there. I think that the 49ers can run the ball. I just don't think they can play good enough defense to keep up with the Packers, with the Dallas Cowboys in this situation. And I already have the Bills and the Cowboys playing the Super Bowl, so I have to go with the Cowboys. Major, I let you go last as the resident homer for the 49ers. I feel you're going to pull. And by the way, I really can see the 49ers pulling off this upset. Like I could see this game going either way. I think it is a very close match when it's all said and done. Major, you talked about never owning a Cowboy or rostering a Cowboy on your fantasy squad because of that rivalry that goes back to the early 90s, because that's the only time it existed. But hey, it is back, at least for 2022.
Yeah. Yeah. My little brother, shout out to my little brother Marcus, man. Like, he's a Cowboys fan. So I could not pick that team at all. And the Cowboys, like, you guys both made great points. You guys made valid points.
I just
but the one thing you left out, the Cowboys will cowboy every single time. As soon as everyone falls in love with them, they will let you down every single time. But the only thing that scares the crap out of me is Jimmy G is the same thing. Jimmy, like, he will find a way to try to lose the game for you. So this one is like you said, is a really close game. I think Debo's going to have to be a superhero. I think Bosa's going to have to go crazy on defense. I don't know, man. It's going to be a close one, but I'm sticking with my Niners on this one.
I had a little fun there on Twitter there that, of course, I'm not like a social media guru or anything. I said, what's got one thumb and is starting over Trey Lance? A photo of Jimmy Garoppolo giving a thumbs up.
Pretty good.
I'm so clever. Another clever. I mean, we're going to go clean sweep here against this next. We've got the Steelers and the Chiefs. I mean, really, we should just have a regulation game there between the Steelers and the Eagles right now. Pennsylvania, you guys stay in the state, play your little game, get that over with. But you know what? Mike Tomlin made a very good point. All you need is that ticket to the dance. Okay? Once you get to that dance, and the Steelers are that team. They were the first wild card team to win the Super Bowl, if my memory serves me correct, which it doesn't usually do. I mean, we could discount the Eagles. We could discount the Steelers. We can discount the Raiders. But at the end of the day, anyone can still win. I mean, it's the Chiefs, though, and they've been playing some pretty good ball, Tara.
Yeah, I don't think we really have to break this one down. The Chiefs are going to win. The only thing I will say is that I am rooting for the Steelers, because it would be just the most perfect story. If Green Bay cannot win, it would be the most perfect story ever for Ben Roethlisberger to start his career as a rookie with the Super Bowl and end it with a Super Bowl. It's not going to happen, but it would be a wonderful story.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. But I do want to show some love to Coach Tomlin, man. I don't think he gets enough talk when it comes to, like, great coaches. This guy has done nothing but win, and he's making crucial calls. He's motivating these guys. I really love seeing him on Twitter after the game, dancing with the team. Like, he's just a good dude. He's a very religious dude. Like, he's just a really good, like, motivational leader. But if they have a super slim chance, Patrick Mahomes is kind of loosey-goosey with the ball nowadays. All those no-look passes and around the back and all the fancy stuff. He needs to cut that out, because he's going to put his team in some trouble. And I think Big Ben is just good enough, and you can't play like that with vets. A vet will find a way to win the game every single time if you turn the ball over. So if the Chiefs can, like, cut the turnovers down, it'll be a blowout.
We've seen Mahomes turn the ball over. 16 interceptions or something like that. Most he's had in quite some time. If the Steelers win this game, it will be because of T.J. Watt. We watched what the Bucs did to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. We know what pressure can do to even the best quarterbacks. If the Chiefs do not have an answer for T.J. Watt, this game could flip. It could. I'm not saying it will. I'm saying that is the best opportunity for this game to flip. I too have the Chiefs winning this game, but hey, crazy's going to crazy. And if there's anyone who can contain crazy, it is Mike Tomlin. He's got the experience in that. Now, finally, let's touch on the first ever Monday Night Football playoff game heading to Hollywood, down in your neck of the woods there, Major, where the Arizona Cardinals meet the Los Angeles Rams in a rubber match.
Who do you got? I'm going with the Rams, but man, like I mentioned earlier, Stafford is scaring the crap out of me with these turnovers they're dumb interceptions. Not even like, oh, he tried to do a superhero play and fit one in between three guys. No, he's underthrowing guys. He's overthrowing guys. It's just, I don't know what's going on there. And Kyler Murray scares the crap out of me. The guy is just a monster, running all over the field, throwing the ball over the field. I think if they had D-Hop, I would be leaning more that way. But since he's down his best receiver, I'm going to go with the Rams. Hopefully the Rams can bounce back from that loss to the Niners. I hope they're not thinking about that as they go into the playoffs. But yeah, I'm going to Rams on this one.
Would you say Kyler Murray has the ability to be like a Godzilla type monster, or more like my pet monster?
I mean, is that a small joke?
That's a short people joke. That's a short people joke. I don't endorse it.
I don't endorse it at all.
For me, we talked about Stafford over the past 4 games. He's actually been the QB 12. Not very impressive, with averaging just about 15 fantasy points, putting him right ahead of who? Mac Jones. That should tell you everything you need to know about his performance. Although it has been rough, I do think that the Rams are going to take it, unfortunately, because as shaky as Stafford has been, Arizona has been even shakier. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games, and Kyler Murray has definitely been a lot better. He's coming together well. He's averaging just over 20 fantasy points per game over the last few weeks, but unfortunately, it's not enough. They're not a complete team right now. With DeAndre Hopkins missing, I don't think they can do it. I think the Rams are going to pull it out.
Yep.
I agree. I think this is going to be a Rams game here, and it has more to do with everyone's favorite aunt, Auntie Mo. Auntie Momentum this time of the year. She's coming to town, and she has avoided Arizona the last 5 weeks. Arizona, you look at every team right now in that NFC. Last 5 games, what are the Packers? 4-1. What are the Cowboys? 4-1. What are the Rams? 4-1. What are the 49ers? 4-1. You see where I'm going with this? What are the Eagles? I don't know. I'm not even going to bother trying saying 4-1. But the Cardinals are 1-4 in the last 5. So you got a team that's 4-1 versus a team that's 1-4 meeting up here. I mean, it's got to be the Rams here. I think they get back running. You got Cam Akers coming back now. He's got a week under his belt. He's got to have a little bit more stability, a little bit more comfort in that Achilles. I mean, he's still not where he needs to be.
Yeah.
But it's going to get better this week compared to last week. That's another weapon. Him and Michelle, they're going to get going. And the Cardinals, they just haven't been good. They really have not been good. So for me, I'm taking the Rams there as well. And that we just talked about Matt Stafford. Now let's talk about some quarterbacks heading into the 2022 season here. A little bit of dynasty rankings, a little bit of talk here. Get those questions in. Hit us up on Twitter. You got at Matt Donnelly FF. You got at Way Too Major FF. And you got It's Tera Time. Drop those questions. We got you covered each and every week. Anytime you got a question, we have an answer. And sometimes Major's even right once in a while.
I'm the only one that's right here, so let's not play that game.
But before we go, I got to give a big-time shout-out here because we at the Dynasty Vipers are putting together a contest right now, a playoff contest. Your fantasy season does not need to be over. And boy, do we got a good one. We've got nearly 100 people already in this one. One more chance at glory. One more chance at fantasy supremacy. We've got Trophy Smack donating a championship belt. One lucky contestant is going to book a ticket into the Scott Fish Bowl number 12. Wow. We've got subscriptions for, reception perception, fantasy points. You name it, we've got it here for everything. Like, I'm looking at these things here right now. DLF's got subscriptions. We got some stuff from the Dynasty Nerds, DTC subscriptions, IDP guys. I mean, Dave Wright, the astronaut. You want data? He's got data. He's got analytics, and he's got customization for you. We got multiple prizes. The football guys, you want subscriptions? You want that all pro? We've got that as well. There's prizes upon prizes. Viridian Global, we got weekly prizes. We got end of the year prizes. We got everything. And you know what else we got? We got Calvin and Hobby coming in hot right now.
Yeah.
Right off of Taco Tuesday, in which I believe you guys just gave out some spots into the Vipers Charity Playoff League. And by the way, this money is going to a great cause, a member of the community, their family. Some terrible things happened in there. We're just trying to be a small part of kind of helping them out here right now. So, Calvin, how many do we give away, and who got those tickets?
We did give away some. There is still more to be given away. I've got spots that I'm covering your entry. This is a no-brainer. So just go ahead and if you're seeing this, hit me up on Twitter. I'm covering your $20, and you have a chance to win all those prizes. You can get into Scott Fishbowl, and like I've heard that like Major will like invite you into his clubhouse if you win, you know, like one of the weeks. Like that's a huge honor to get into Major's clubhouse.
Probably not, but hey, let's do it.
That's how I met Major, in his clubhouse.
That's how we all met.
We won't get into that, but
yeah, so we've got some great things coming down. You're going to want to get in on this. This is one of my favorite things here right now. There's a lot of great money being raised here for a great cause, and there's some fantastic prizes. That's the one thing about this fantasy community. It always pulls together when it comes to helping those less fortunate, those who are in need.
One thing you didn't mention too, like the competition that you're going to be going up against. You're going against the who's who of the fantasy football community. Is so many talented people in this tournament. So you can test your skills against the best. So yeah, it's a great thing.
And this is the fourth year that we've done it. The highest I've ever been is 7th. So it's different. It's a one and you're done type situation as far as players are concerned. You get in there, you set a new lineup each and every week. You have a new opportunity each and every week to win a prize, guaranteed. So you are not out of this by any stretch, any given week. And here's the thing. Once you use a player, he is done. So if you go week 1 and you use Patrick Mahomes, and then you follow it up with Aaron Rodgers in week 2, and all of a sudden the Chiefs and the Packers meet in the Super Bowl, guess what? You're starting Jordan Love on your fantasy football roster, okay? This isn't week 8. This is the Super Bowl, people, and you're going to have to start it because you use it. So there's going to be some strategy put into place here right off the get-go. I don't know what the correct strategy is, but people smarter than me, they seem to figure this out each and every year. A little bit of luck, a little bit of strategy, and a whole lot of love for charity. Now, with that all being said, we're going to switch things up. We're going to keep talking about love. We're going to, not Jordan Love, we're going to talk about the quarterback position and which quarterbacks that, Tera, are you trading for in 2022 for dynasty purposes?
Trading 4 or away? We're starting with 4?
We're going to start with away because we're going to stick with the love
away
before we start to go the other direction.
Okay, so starting with 4. I would be trading for Matt. You're not going to like this one. I'm going to trade for Zach Wilson. Quite frankly, I just like what I saw over the past several games to close out the season. I think the Jets have a potential to be not a very super strong team, but they're trending in the right direction. They will improve next season. The offense will improve. They'll hopefully be healthier. They've had a lot of injuries at the receiver position, at running back as well. So when you look at the young talent they have, I think that Zach Wilson has an opportunity to be for sure a super flex asset and maybe sneak in there as someone who you can stream in a 1 QB.
All right, I'm okay with that. I can get on board with that a little bit here. Major, who do you got?
I'm going with Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, he had all the buzz and everything at the beginning of the season and didn't look so good. The numbers wasn't there, but if you paid close attention, you've seen that he has the arm talent. Every completion he made was like a beautiful between people, around somebody, over somebody. So I think it was coaching. And now with the new coach coming in, pretty sure they're going to go with some offensive guru type of guy to get Trevor on track. And they have a lot of young talent on that team still. They have a Shark coming back off of the IR. So I think he's going to have an amazing season. Everyone right now, find a person in your league, go to him, trade one of these get rid of Aaron Rodgers. Get rid of who else? I don't know. Who's old? I don't know. Get rid of all your old quarterbacks and trade for Trevor Lawrence, and you will be a happy camper.
And for me, I'm going with a 23-year-old exclusive rights free agent, Tyler Huntley of the Baltimore Ravens. I believe it's better to get in early than it is to get in late. I mean, we just had him have a kind of a down game against the Steelers as far as statistics are concerned. That gives me a bit more of an opportunity to buy as far as value goes as an asset here. And here's the thing. I really think Tyler Huntley is too good to be a backup for the Ravens. Now, maybe he stays there one more season, maybe not. I don't think the asking price for him right now is going to be too much. I think you can get him on your roster at a decent value. And guess what? Even if someone wants to make a move for him, there's two teams I think can make a strong play for him because they have what the Ravens want. And the only way he's leaving is probably by trade. That is the Carolina Panthers and the Washington Admirals. I don't know. Because they have what the Ravens need, and that is a defensive front. And you know what, Washington? You've got defensive linemen, Deron Payne there and Jonathan Allen throwing punches at each other. You've got young defensive linemen in Carolina. You got a Carolina team that we've seen Teddy Bridgewater support 3 top 24 wide receivers. Maybe Tyler Huntley makes perfectly good sense there. So I see Washington, Carolina being fits for him. And I'm going to get in there before it's too late. So Tyler Huntley is that guy I'm going for. Calvin, is there a quarterback that you're making sure you're getting on your roster?
In one quarterback leagues, I'm probably not trading for any quarterbacks, to be honest. But in Superflex leagues, how about Trey Lance if you can get a little bit of a discount? Or maybe somebody's not very happy about what they've seen from Justin Fields, and maybe you can get a little bit of a discount there. Those are the kind of quarterbacks that I want to go after. Guys are going to be able to give me, that Konami code and are young. And, sometimes just seeing a little bit of those players and having something to nitpick can bring their value down a little bit. And, you might be able to get in there and have somebody who you can have as a starting quarterback for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the Tyler Huntley thing, that Konami code there. We've seen what he can do. That's why I kind of went that route there. But you know what? We all want to get rid of old stuff. We like to get rid of stuff at a garage sale at a discounted price usually. So, Tara, who's that player you're trading away and why? And I know it's probably because they're old, but who's that player? Because this one really actually shocked me here right now.
Well, I can't be biased. I think it's the perfect time to trade away Aaron Rodgers if you've got him.
Biased all season.
I am the least biased person ever, man. You have stuck by Ramadre through nonsense. So I'm kidding. You man,
go back to go. Aaron Rodgers, go.
Aaron Rodgers. Again, age plays into it. I mean, I still think that Rodgers has good years left. So don't get me wrong. You're not trading away a guy that's going to be unusable. But I think this moment right here, with the way that he's performed this season, he has been absolutely lights out, fantastic. And on top of that, you're going to get a massive dramatic buzz of what is happening with Aaron Rodgers in the offseason. Is he staying in Green Bay? Is he going to have greener pastures? What's happening? Devontae going with him? Is he going to go to a team like the Broncos? So I think you can get a little hype going on here because the free agency buzz is positive. It's not really negative of him, risking it and going over to a bad team. So I think this is the perfect time to go ahead and get max value for your 38-year-old dynasty quarterback.
I don't even know where to start with you, Tara. I'm actually kind of disappointed if I'm being honest here. Now, Major, we got to move on here right now. I guess I don't know where to go on this one, but Major, who's that player you're getting rid of? Because now you got even me more confused.
I'm going with Patrick Mahomes, and I think the league has caught up to Patrick Mahomes. You have maybe 3 3 to maybe even 4 other quarterbacks you can get the same production out of. So why not try to trick one of your league mates, trade Patrick Mahomes and get a young quarterback like Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow, grab one of those guys, get a running back in that, and try to grab a receiver, maybe even grab like a first-round pick. When you see Patrick Mahomes' name, people's eyes get big, and you can probably get the house. So take this opportunity right now to get – I mean, Patrick, he's going to be a top quarterback, don't get me wrong, but I think you get the same production out of a Justin Herbert next year.
So we're going to roll this next one in straight from the player I'm trading away right into the bounce back candidate here. And we're just going to kind of go rapid fire because the guy I'm trading away right now is Russell Wilson. I mean, we're looking at I don't think he's going to be in Seattle, so I want to get rid of him there. But I want to kind of get rid of him before he leaves Seattle in a way because people may still think he's in Seattle, but I think he ends up with the New York Jets, which would hurt his value. So I want to try and make sure I get out when I can. He's also getting a little bit older there. But Tera, I see that he's your bounce back candidate. What gives you that theory that he's going to bounce back in 2022?
Man, what is with the Zach Wilson slander? You think they're abandoning the rookie already? Come on now, Matt.
No, they won't. I'm with you, Tera.
They're going to Josh Rosen him. Josh Rosen him.
No. But my justification for bounce back for Russell Wilson. I mean, it's Russ. Come on. We're looking at a guy who has been consistently a top 10 quarterback for years and years and years and years and years. I mean, and we've got a quarterback 16 performance out of him this year. He missed time. He came back sooner than he should have and was playing injured, and the results weren't pretty. I think that we're going to get a good bounce back top 10. I still have faith that he is still that dude that you can rely on as a stable QB1. So yeah, he's my bounce back quarterback for next year.
All right, Major, who's your bounce back player?
I'm going with Tua. I'll just say Tua because I can't pronounce his last name. Tagovailoa. Close enough. He started off slow. He started to pick up a little bit. Him and Waller look like they have a really good connection going on. And again, I think Miami kind of let Coach Flores go so they can get one of these young stud offensive coordinators, one of these college guys who are offensive gurus type of guys. So look for him to throw the ball over the yard next year. So I think he'll have a really good season.
And I'm going to stick with your 49ers here because this guy's better with one thumb than Trey Lance is with two. And that's Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm not even 100% convinced that Garoppolo's not with the 49ers to start of next year because it's all going to depend on where Trey Lance is with his development. And I don't think he's there quite yet. I think we could see Garoppolo potentially being there one more season. If he's not, there's a lot of QB needing teams out there right now that I think Garoppolo would be a solid fit. I'm not going to say he's going to give you QB1 type numbers. That's not going to happen.
Saints.
The Saints are on there. I wouldn't go past that. I mean, Seattle is a possibility for Garoppolo if Wilson moves on, and I think that'd be a fantastic thing there for him to throw to Lockett, add to DK Metcalf. So I think there's an opportunity for Jimmy Garoppolo. If he's healthy, he is a solid quarterback. Not a great one, but if healthy, he's a solid quarterback, and he can win you some games. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a bounce back here heading into 2022. But now let's talk under the radar. Major, who's that under the radar quarterback that you're looking to potentially add to your rosters?
I'm going with Jordan Love. Like, people forget about him a little bit. We said his name a few times today, but I haven't heard too many people talk about him. And when he was in the game, it didn't really look that good. So, but I think it'll be all right. It's the same thing. I just had a conversation with some people in Clubhouse the other day where we're talking about how Aaron Rodgers started his career was a little shaky as well. So I think if Jordan Love, the offense is built around him and he's the guy, I think he'll perform. So grab Jordan Love because I think it is the last year you see Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
I still think Rodgers is going to find his way back there because Love can build a bridge between the Packers and Rodgers. I'll put it that way. You can interpret that however you want. Actually, no, you can't. Love is so bad. I think the Packers realize that, and Aaron Rodgers realizes that, and they're going to come together. Love will be that bridge that brings these two together. Now, Tera, who's that player for you that's a little under the radar?
So I took this
player.
Yeah, I took this less about under the radar and more of an emphasis on forgotten. I feel like we have forgotten and we have been fleeced by the existence of Taylor Heineke. He had his moments this season, but I think we forgot that Ryan Fitzpatrick was supposed to be that guy. Heineke wasn't a thing. It was Ryan Fitzpatrick who was the starter, who was going to be the guy leading Washington, and unfortunately suffered that hip injury literally immediately into the season. We got to see absolutely nothing of him, unfortunately. But, provided that he can rehab and come back, I think he's a very forgotten player that is not, when we're talking Superflex League, he's not someone who is really worth much at this point. So if you're looking for somebody to kind of just, stash very low value on your roster and the upside that he can come back and have one more, maybe 2 more years as that, journeyman gunslinger guy and see where he ends up. If he stays in Washington, it'll be interesting. I think he's someone who can still give you a little something maybe that we've forgotten about.
He's older than Matt. Like, what do you mean? He's probably going to be like out the league next year.
Not Fitzpatrick. Come on now.
He'll be a good coach somewhere. Who you got, Calvin?
It's Ryan Fitzpatrick. Come on.
I'll just quickly say the one people that everybody's forgotten about is Mitch Trubisky. I think he's going to be a starting quarterback somewhere in the league next year. Don't forget about him. You can add him for nothing.
I like Marcus Mariota too somewhere.
I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks. This could be a very interesting season on how this all shakes out. San Francisco may need a quarterback there if they're not comfortable with Trey Lance's. We talked about Russell Wilson possibly leaving Seattle. We look around the league: Denver, Carolina, Washington, New Orleans. These are all teams looking for a quarterback. 2 teams that have been kind of linked to a quarterback have been the Philadelphia Eagles. Regardless of what you feel Jalen Hurts is, I think he needs to have a good playoff game to stick around with the Eagles this next year. And the Miami Dolphins, they were linked to another quarterback all season long, and that quarterback was Deshaun Watson. Now, if this legal stuff gets all sorted out and everything goes on, Pittsburgh Steelers are another team that really needs a quarterback for 2022. I am not in love. I'm on the record, not in love with this quarterback class that's coming in right now. I think a lot of people in the draft community are feeling the same way. And I think you're going to have to address your quarterback needs via free agency or through the trade market. And Deshaun Watson right now, we'll see how it plays out. But there's some teams that could definitely afford to get him there. Could you imagine what he could do with Jalen Waddle and Devontae Parker? What he could do with Devonta Smith, and if, say, the Eagles add someone like Treylon Burks in the draft, go to Denver with him right now. Give him Deontay Johnson and even Chase Claypool in Pittsburgh. There's some good spots for Watson to possibly land. Now, you're going to have to be willing to play a little bit of the lottery here and hope he lands in a good spot and his legal stuff gets all sorted out. But there's a guy that could be a very good player who's kind of maybe forgotten. And now, new faces, new places. We're going to touch on a couple more quarterbacks here. Tera, we know that the Minnesota Vikings, sometimes they're happy, sometimes they're not. We know their fans aren't big on this guy. Who's that guy for you?
So with the exit of Mike Zimmer, I think it's a real possibility that they might be looking to do a little bit of a reset right here. And despite the fact that he's been pretty stable statistically, I don't think that they want to move forward with Kirk Cousins. And I think that Kirk might be someone that they can ship off and try to trade away for picks and assets. And if that does happen, wouldn't it be interesting to see Kirk Cousins go home to Washington, return back?
Love it.
Do you like that?
Do you like that?
No, I love it.
Yeah.
So just for the Vikings, you have Kirk Cousins on a 1-year deal. There's no way they're re-signing him. Like, you can't bring in a GM and head coach and tie them to a 1-year quarterback. He's going somewhere. I know he's got a bad deal. I know his contract makes it hard, but they have to move him. They can't bring in a brand new staff and have a lame duck quarterback in there. They just cannot do it. He's going to go somewhere. I love the idea of it being Washington.
I like it.
And Major, who's that quarterback that you're sending away? Where do you want to see a certain quarterback?
I'm going Aaron Rodgers in Denver. It just makes total sense. We know Elway loves veteran quarterbacks. You've seen he won a championship with Manning. And I think Aaron Rodgers is kind of a Colorado person already. The guy rocks a man bun. He's so like zen. He looks high half the time he's talking. And where do you get the most ganja? Colorado. It'd be a perfect fit. Like they need a old quarterback. He fits in already. Like just get him some a puffer jacket. He fits right in. So I like Aaron Rodgers in Denver.
You know who fits in anywhere? Gardner Minshew. Let's give this guy a starting job somewhere. And let's start with, I'm already sending Tyler Huntley to the Washington football team. So I'm going to send Gardner Minshew to the Carolina Panthers. A little bit of a revival there. Give me some more Carolina love. Sweet Carolina. Gardner Minshew. That's cute. Could you imagine Gardner Minshew in the local pub and all of a sudden Sweet Carolina pops on? Bam, bam, bam. Oh, him and his dad, they'd be hugging, high-fiving. Everything would be sweet in Carolina if Gardner Minshew was there. Plus, he'd have the best weapons he's had in his entire career already in place in Carolina.
I think he stays on as a starter in Philly, or even go to Washington where he played college. So I like those two spots for him.
You mean to Seattle?
Oh, shit. Yeah, Seattle.
Calvin, I see you shaking your head. Why don't you like Gardner Minshew? Is it his mustache? You got a problem with mustaches?
What's going on?
He's fine. The younger version, who's the quarterback in Houston right now, is probably better. Davis Mills, who's basically the clone of Gardner. Look, Gardner lost his job to Mike Glennon last year. Okay,
who?
Like, yeah, he lost his job to. Was it Luton? Jake Luton? He lost his job to in Jacksonville. To Nick Foles the year before. Yeah, like I think I love the cult of personality of that he's got. Fine, but let's not get carried away with Gardner Minshew being. Carolina is gonna go. They're gonna swing big. It's Deshaun Watson. It's Russell Wilson. They're gonna swing big. Yeah. They're not going for. If they wind up with Gardner Minshew, there's no way. There's no way.
Like Matt's mustache is like sad right now with all this crap you're talking about the mustache game.
I thought Cal. I thought you were going to point out the fact that he transitioned Sweet Caroline into Sweet Carolina.
I did. Yes. I noticed that too.
You know what? He's gonna be. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm gonna just for this. I want to have him rocking the jorts down in the body. Okay. He'll fit right in right there. Now, we're coming up here. So we got our top 12 Dynasty quarterbacks here right now. So I'm going to let each Tera and Major kind of whip down their top 12 and just kind of explain quickly why they have that set up that way and who's most likely to move up or down based on where they've gone currently right now. Tera, who are your top 12 Dynasty quarterbacks?
All right. Well, I will start off, and I'm giving it to Josh Allen. I don't understand how many times the man has to finish statistically as the QB1 before we say, "Hey guys, I think he's the QB1." So from that perspective, yes, Josh Allen is my QB1. Sorry, Patrick Mahomes, you're moving down to QB number 2. Still fantastic. Number 2 is not bad. It's just a little bit behind Josh Allen at number 3.
Hey, some people like number 2, right, Odell?
Wow. You didn't miss the opportunity.
Right, Matt?
You didn't miss the opportunity. At number 3, you gotta be careful with my numbers here for Matt's jokes. At number 3, Justin Herbert. I think that would make sense. He's young, he's talented, he's had top 10 finishes. I think the sky's the limit for him. Perfect situation. I love the young weapons that they've got there as well. If Mike Williams is one of those guys that heads out during free agency, I think that Josh Palmer and Jalen Guyton are more than capable of stepping up. So I'm good with Herbert there in that team. Then at number 4, we've got Kyler Murray. I know people are a little skeptical of the injuries here and are starting to label him injury prone. I don't feel that way about him. Again, I lean towards rushing upside quarterbacks. And so we got Kyler Murray there, rushing upside, gunslinger as well. He's just, he's my number 4 right there. At number 5, I think people forget how young Lamar Jackson is. He's still got years and years left in him and has competed. We've already seen him be the QB1. He's an easy top 10 quarterback year after year. It's not even close. And the rushing upside there, and please don't label him injury prone. We've got one injury here, unfortunately, that had nothing to do with him running. It was on a passing play. Number 6, we got Joe Burrow. I'm moving him up. Some people, when you look at him, are moving him up a little higher than that. Unfortunately, I lean towards, again, the rushing upside guys. So he is right there at number 6. He could move up, but overall, looking at last year or at this past year, it was a fantastic year for him, but I don't think to that level as a whole where I can put him right there at the top yet, based off of 2 fantastic week 16 and week 17 games right there. Then Dak Prescott, again, I think that one's kind of self-explanatory. Deshaun Watson, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to assume that he is going to play and slide him into my top 10 at number 8. Then we've got Trey Lance. Again, I'm leaning towards these rushing upside quarterbacks because you just kind of have to. I think the opportunity is there. I think Garoppolo moves on, and I think that Trey Lance is going to get in there and really have an opportunity with a ton of ridiculously talented weapons around him, through the air, on the ground. It's just kind of ridiculous, the level of play they have there in San Francisco. Then at number 10, I have Russell Wilson. I didn't specify there for a second. I thought I was I was like, why did Zach Wilson slip in there? Russell Wilson there. I think, again, I talked about him earlier. He's just underrated, perennial top 10 quarterback. He's still got years left within him. Then we're going with Aaron Rodgers. Age is the only thing holding him back. And then rounding it out at number 12 is Justin Fields.
Yeah, so I thought it was kind of interesting when I looked through this here. The one name, the big one that I see that's being omitted for my end of things would be Jalen Hurts. Is he right on that cusp, or is he still considerably down on your list? Because I know Major's the same way, because Major can touch it on this as well.
My problem there with Jalen Hurts is that, unfortunately, while I do think he is a great fantasy quarterback, I have zero faith in the fact that the Eagles will commit to him and stick it around. And I kind of get worried about him being shipped off somewhere, put into a suspect situation. And I just get worried about that. And that's why he slips out of my top 12.
Okay, well, Major, let's hear your top 12. What do you got?
So Tera got hers all the way wrong. So let me give you a real list of, this is for Dynasty. So let's start there. So
based off week 16 and 17.
I'm Joe Burrow's I'm his biggest fan right now. Between him and Justin Herbert, I think they're the 2 most talented quarterbacks in the league. But I give Burrow the edge just because he has the swag. You see him in the locker room smoking cigars, dancing with the team, listening to rap music, and just having fun. Like, when you're playing football and having fun, it's like a magical thing that happens. So he gets to be my number 1, and he has the most talented receivers in the league, I think, with Chase and T. Higgins. And I don't know if Boyd's going to be there next year, but if he is, that's just the top 3 receivers in the league. And then I'm going to go with Justin Herbert at number 2, just off of pure talent. Living in LA, pretty much watched all the games, and he's just one of those guys where the ball just goes, it's like on a string. He throws it wherever he wants, and it gets there every single time. And Patrick Mahomes moved down on this list for me. Again, like I said, too many. He's too cute now. I think he's becoming like a superstar. He's not himself. He's a character of himself. He's throwing these no-look passes and stuff for no reason, throwing interceptions. To me, it seems like he's getting a little, not big-headed, but just a little, I think he's buying into the hype a little bit. And then I'm going to bring in Josh Allen. I don't really see him play that much, but the guy has one of the best arms in the league, and he can run the ball. So, he's the number 1 running back on that team. So then you got Kyler Murray coming in, rounding out my top. Was that top 5? Did he make the top 5? Yeah. So I got Kyler Murray just with the talent on that team, and his running ability. And the guy he's probably one of the smartest quarterbacks in the league. The guy seems like he's playing chess or checkers. No, chess. Why people are playing checkers. There you go. And then I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson. The only thing that scares me about him is the running. He runs. He's taking a little bit too many hits for me. But not even when he's not running. And when he's dropped back in the pocket, he's going to hit a little bit too much for my liking. And let's see. Oh, and then we have Russell Wilson. I think he should end up in a pretty good situation, maybe in Minnesota. I kind of like that for him, and he's one of those smart, cerebral players. He's thinking of the steps way before everyone else is. I don't really like Dak Prescott, but I threw him in here just because he puts up great numbers. And I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence, who I think is going to have a great sophomore season if they get the right coach in there. I'm trying to rapid fire these here. Watson, if he, again, like everyone else mentioned, if he gets through all this stuff, and I think him sitting out for a year, people kind of forgot all the stuff that happened. Yeah, true. When he comes back, is going to kind of come to the surface a little bit, but once you start winning, all that stuff kind of goes away. And then I have Tua coming in here. We seen him connect with Waddle. They had a thing going on. When he played well, he played really well. And then I'm going to go with Jones, Mac Jones. It looks like a carbon copy of what Tom Brady did. Like, it was all defense, and you throw the ball as least as possible to get these wins. And winning breeds confidence, and I think that's going to be a big thing for him, is getting that confidence so he can become that Tom Brady caliber player. Are we going to the next thing right now, or we're going to wait?
No, we'll wait. We'll see if we got time for that. We don't have time for that. But I thought it was interesting that you had both Tua and Mac Jones kind of slid in there and cracking that top 12, because I think that's a little bold. That's a little out there, but definitely not outside of the realm of possibility when it comes to the quarterback position, as we've seen this last season and what that quarterback, how that could all shape up in fantasy. Now, Calvin, I know you were busy here putting yours together here quickly. So let's quickly run down your top 12 quarterbacks for Dynasty.
Pat Mahomes. Only Pat Mahomes can be 66%, 4,800 yards, 37 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and have it be a down year that everybody's disappointed in. He's the number one. He's 25 years old. He's like, what? He's about the same age as Joe Burrow. It sounds crazy, but what? 1 year, less than a year older than him. So he's going to be the number one QB in your league for a very long time. Don't worry about that. Pat Mahomes, yeah. Josh Allen, like Tara said, he's right up there too. He adds in something really special with his legs. I love what he's being asked to do. And then I've got, so doubling down on the Konami thing, Murray and Lamar right there behind him for me. And I hear your point, Major, on worrying about Lamar running and things like that. But go back and look at Michael Vick as a 30-year-old, 600 and something yards with 9 touchdowns. That's in a league that didn't like running quarterbacks. We were not ready for running quarterbacks, and he didn't even like the fact that he was a running quarterback. He played Madden and played with Tom Brady during that time, which is crazy. Everybody else wanted to play with Mike Vick. But yeah, don't worry about the rushing. That's going to be around for these guys for a long time. Then I've got my guy, Joe Burrow, EAUX at the end of Burrow, by the way, the Bayou Bengal. Love Burrow. Herbert right there with him. Jalen Hurts, I don't care where he's starting, if he's going to have a job, and I think he will because of the lack of good quarterbacks coming out of the draft. He proved if he's going to start, he's going to put up as many QB1 weeks as anybody else in the league. Trevor Lawrence, I think he just needs somebody to not actively ruin him. So
on purpose.
Glad Rottweiler's not there. That's going to be an upgrade. Give me Trey Lance, same thing. Jimmy Garoppolo was able to do good things in this offense. You're telling me that Trey Lance, with his ability running the ball, and Kyle Shanahan calling plays for him, you guys can't get excited about that? Come on, you don't love football if you don't get excited about that. Justin Fields, I'm a little worried about that one, but I love the youth and I love the commitment to him. Deshaun Watson, just because he's 26 years old. I mean, he's if he comes back and has a job, we've seen what he can do. And then Dak, he's got to bounce back, right? You can't. This can't be the version of Dak we see. So that's it.
Well, when I look at your guys' list here, I see that I'm a little bit lower on guys like Kyler Murray than most people are. And it's more because I think he starts off the season strong and then he fades every single year. We've seen it each year so far. That's a pattern for me. That's a bit of a red flag. So I'm going to bump you down based on what I have seen. So for me, Patrick Mahomes, he is still the king when it comes to fantasy at the quarterback position. Youth is still on his side. He's still going there. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs give him another weapon offensively in the draft this year. And I think they do it early. I mean, we've seen Brian Pringle. We've seen DeMarcus Robinson. We've seen these other Josh Gordon. come in there, do nothing. I think they're going to find another weapon for him this year. Maybe a Wandale Robinson of the University of Kentucky would be a fantastic little toy for Mahomes to play with. Justin Herbert, number 2 dynasty quarterback for me. Number 2 this year as far as redraft goes. He's right there. Josh Allen, the number 1 quarterback in fantasy this year. He gets my number 3 spot. And Lamar Jackson, hey, you're number 4. I don't care where there's anything lower than the top 5. Throw that list out. Okay, don't really. I'm not going to knock anyone for having many lower, but I really think Lamar Jackson, he was just an MVP a couple seasons ago. He is still young. He is just hitting that 5th-year option right now. Like, seriously, Lamar Jackson's still young, and I got Joe Burrow at number 5, which it takes a big man in me to admit that. I've got him actually above Tua Tagovailoa right now. So I'll give Joe Burrow his credit. He's got the weapons there to last a long time. Dak Prescott, MVP season is on its way. I don't know if it's going to be next year or the year after. He's got the weapons. He's got a good offensive line. Now he's got a defense to work with. That defense gets him the ball back. That's great for fantasy. Kyler Murray, you come in at number 7. You got a little bit of a drop down. I still give you your points for that running ability, so you still get a little bit of credit. And right behind him, Jalen Hurts. Same story as Kyler Murray. Konami Code picks up a lot of rushing yards, a lot of rushing touchdowns, as well as what he can do with his arm. So give him my number 8 spot. Russell Wilson, he still comes in at Russell Wilson. Yeah, Wilson comes in at number 9 for me. Aaron Rodgers comes in 10. He's old, but he can still sling it. He's going to play another 3, 4, 5 seasons. I'm okay with that right now. So for Dynasty, he's still going to hang on to that top 10 kind of billing. Trevor Lawrence comes in at number 11. I think the talent is there. We'll see what kind of weapons get added around it. We know ETN's coming next year. We know James Robinson, if he can come back from his Achilles injury, he's going to be there. Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault, maybe he'll get used properly next. So there's some weapons there for Jacksonville to work with. And at number 12, all right, I'll drink the Kool-Aid. I'll give it to Justin Fields. I'm not 100% sold, but that rushing ability, okay, I'll buy into that. We'll see what the new GM and new coach do there in Chicago and see if they give him a little bit more weapons, a little bit better of a scheme to work with. I wouldn't expect a big jump for Fields next year trying to learn a new offense. I think there's going to be an adjustment period for him there when it comes to that. I don't even think he had a grasp of the offense that Chicago ran last year. So I think there's going to still be a little bit of an issue there. So give Justin Fields a couple more years before you start to see QB1 type seasons out of him. With that all said, quickly, before we wrap it up, we got Malik Willis. We've got Matt Carroll. We got Sam Howell, Carson Strong, Desmond Ridder, Kenny Pickett. Any of these rookies, do any of these rookies have a chance of cracking the top 15 for your dynasty rankings next season? Major.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb. Let's have fun. I got 2 guys, and this is totally dependent on where they go. But I like Desmond Ridder. Like, if he would have came out in last year's draft, I had him ranked right there with Fields. I had him like maybe right before. I really like him. He has the size, the arm. He could run. Smart kid. And then Kenny Pickett. I think if he goes to Pittsburgh, I for sure put him in my top 15. He plays in Pitt. It's a great story. They have a lot of talent there. The dude has a monster arm. He can run. Great size. The other ones you mentioned, like Malik Willis, all those other ones, they're kind of like undersized a little bit for the quarterback position. So those 2 to me seem like the most ready. If you're going to get anyone, it's going to be those 2.
Okay, you're wrong. Tara?
No, unfortunately, no.
Calvin, do you see any of these quarterbacks crack in the top 15?
Nope, not close.
You guys are scary.
Well, basically, this has turned into the NFL, the no fun league for the ViperCast, because I do not believe any of these quarterbacks crack the top 15. If anyone has an outside shot, maybe Malik Willis, based on the Konami Code abilities that he possesses and how the quarterback run game goes, but I don't see his throwing ability developing well in the National Football League. So for me, he's more of a project, so I'm not even going to have him sniffing my fantasy rosters here or my dynasty rankings anytime soon. And that goes the same with these other quarterbacks that some other people did last year. Maybe Sam Howell coming out last year, I might have considered based on what he had done. But this last season, I don't see it.
He lost all his receivers, though. He did lose like his top receivers and running backs.
Either way, I don't see any of these rookie quarterbacks coming in to even replace any of these free agent or tradable quarterback assets that we see here in the 2022 season.
I think
So,
top
Zach
15 is
Wilson
too
over
high
all of them.
too. Can we go like top 20 maybe? I think that's fair. A little more fair.
dude, how much more fair do you want? Like I said, Derek Carr was a top 12 quarterback this year.
Look, we just went down 12 quarterbacks right now, and we left out some of the vets. So I think top 20 would be a more fair like assessment for these young guys.
We can have this discussion about how wrong you are on another show, another day there, Major.
I go
We're
out
getting-
on a limb, and I'm usually right. So
Is there evidence of that?
No, just not.
just hit rewind. Just look
I
at all the
mean,
videos.
We hear it a lot. Like I hear it confirmed from
I mean,
Major, but I don't know if I've seen it
He
confirmed on
was
paper.
right 2 out of 17 weeks when it came to Ramondre Stevenson.
So the problem is you guys don't pay attention to anything I say because you guys don't respect my knowledge. But I'm usually right. When we do the hit or miss, I'm usually like reading for hours on my hits. So hey, I just
Well,
can't see it.
As
I'm
we
paying
conclude,
attention a lot. I'm just
We need
getting
Calvin
we
back on the show.
conclude
Calvin,
today's show.
Because they don't know what they're talking about. I need Calvin here because he's the only one that knows a little bit of football here.
Cal, I think we should unleash these top 12 rankings to Twitter because the ones that left off Lance and Fields on these lists might get a little negative feedback, guys.
See if
Man,
you can
y'all
Do it.
Oh, you
Matt
know what?
created graphics.
took it.
Matt, you should do a graphic with all of them on there and see.
I should. But
Yeah.
if I want to put, if you can't beat out a one-thumb Jimmy Garoppolo, you ain't making the top 12 list. Let's put it that way, okay? You don't deserve to be on the list. I know.
It is
And everyone
what
was
it
talking about Trey Lance. Trey Lance has 2 thumbs, and he's still on the bench. Anyway, with that being said, if you want to catch more of Major, head over to Fantasy Points on Sundays. Catch that show with Nick. Fantastic stuff. Player props, all that good stuff. You want to catch Tera at It's Tera Time, Fantasy Pros, TikTok, Fantasy Alarm, Awesemo. And I got news for you. There's bigger and better stuff coming from her going forward here. And of course, I call today Timeout Tuesday for the Chargers. Salute to you. It's also Taco Tuesday over at DLF, where Tyler and Calvin kick it off each and every Tuesday. And of course, the Dynasty Vipers Network here on YouTube. Hey, jump in. There's still time. Don't be afraid. We've got a playoff league going on. $20 donation. Lots of great prizes. Great cause. Get in on that. And remember, just like Major, a broken clock is right twice a day. We'll see you next time.